Hello. In this video, I will do some ACT math algebra problems regarding polynomials. Okay, hold on. Let me plug in my writing tablet and we will begin. Okay, right. So ACT math algebra polynomials. So after this lesson, you will be able to add, subtract, multiply, and factor polynomials. So let's start with question one. Question one says the expression 3 parentheses x plus 4 minus 7 times 2x minus 5 is equal to A, B, C, D, or E. Okay. So on the ACT, it is multiple choice. So, and you can use a calculator unless it says not, you can't. So I could use a calculator. It says I couldn't. So I'm going to do this. So what would I do here? I have a parentheses. I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do first? Do I FOIL out the three? Yeah. So what helps is what's called the pandas. So do we have parentheses? Yes, we have two parentheses, one here and one there. Now, inside that parentheses, can you do anything inside the parentheses? No, this is a variable. This is a constant. The same thing here. This is a variable. This is a constant. You can't do nothing. So what I would do is we can't really do much with parentheses. Do we have an exponent? No. Do we have a multiplication? Yes. This 3 and this -7 is adjacent to the parentheses, so that means multiplication. So you're going to FOIL that out. So it's going to be 3x plus 12. And then this is going to be -14x. And then -7 times -5 is 30, positive 35. Okay. And then it's all about collecting like terms because there's nothing more you can do, right? We don't have division. We do have an addition and subtraction, so you just go from left to right. Basically, you just collect like terms. So let's start with the x's. So we have a 3x here and a -14x. What is that going to be? -11x. And then our constant is 12 and 35, which is 47. Okay, so which choice is that? A, B, C, D, or F? It is F, right? -11x plus 47. Okay, not too bad. Let's move on to question two. So question two says, which of the following expression is equivalent to this? 1/4 x, parentheses, -x, -8x minus 12y plus 4x plus 4y. So uh, yeah. So what I would do is figure out what do we do first. Pandas. Yes, we do have one parentheses. This is one whole parentheses. What I would do is the only thing I could think of inside this parentheses is collect like terms. That's what I would do. Do not FOIL out the 1/4 x. You can, and it won't be wrong if you do, but I think it'll make your life easier if you kind of clean this up. So in the inner parentheses, what can I clean up or collect? We can collect the -8x and the 4x, which is -4x, right? And then what about the y's? You have a -12y and a positive 4y. That is going to be -8y. And then it's going to be 1/4 x. And now you may FOIL out this 1/4 x because you can't do much more with you can't do much more, right? In the inner parentheses because they're two different letters. So go ahead and FOIL out this 1/4 x. So what's 1/4 x times -4x? So if you get lost, what you're really doing is you can write it out. 1/4 x parentheses times -4x Well, what do we know? You could put the x on the center or in the top. It doesn't matter. This 4 does have an invisible 1. So what's 1 times negative 4x? So if you want, you could put the x on the top and never on the bottom. So what's 1x times negative 4x? Negative 4x squared. And what's 4 times 1? 4. And then FOIL this out. What is 1/4 x times negative 8y? So you can write it out if you get lost. So you could say x over 4 times negative 8y. That's going to be negative 8xy over 4. Right? This has an invisible one. So remember, when you're multiplying fractions, you multiply cross, not crisscross. And then clean this up. What's negative 4x squared over 4? Well, the 4 disappears, so you'll still left with negative x squared. What is negative 8xy divided by 4? That is negative 2xy. Okay, so which one will that be? F, G, H, J, K? It looks like letter J. Question 3. Parentheses x squared minus 3x plus 2 minus parentheses 3x squared minus 3x minus 2 is equivalent to. So all you got to do, you have a minus in the middle. You're just collecting like terms. There's nothing you can do inside the parentheses because none of these can be combined, right? You have a power 2, you have a x1, and then you have a constant. They're they're different powers, so you can't combine them. It's the same thing here. You can't combine whoops, you can't combine these because they're different power, right? So all you got to do is you see this minus, it's like an invisible negative 1. So what you got to do is FOIL out this negative 1. So this is going to be negative 3x squared. Negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3x. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. And then we haven't done anything here, so you're just going to bring it down. And then collect like terms. So let's start with the highest power. So we have 1x squared and then negative 3x squared. That is negative 2x squared. And then what about the x's? You have a 3x and a negative 3x. That zeroes out. And what about our constant? Constant of 2 and 2, so that's going to be 4. Okay, so what does that mean? So I believe that's letter C, negative 2x squared plus 4. Question 4, where for where x does not equal 0, we have to simplify this rational function. We have 8x6 minus 16x squared all over 2x squared, right? So what would I do? I would just try to factor a GCF. So let's start with the numerator. You have two terms. This is one term. Whoops. And then this is another, right? So what can you do? Let's start out with the letters. We have 6x's here and 2x's here. What is the largest amount of x's you can take out evenly? Yes, you could take out 2x's evenly, and that's the largest you can get. And then what about our constant? We have an 8 and a 16. What is the largest number that they're both divisible by? Yes, that's correct. 8. Okay. And then we can't change this problem. So what do we have to multiply 8x squared to get the first term 8x6. Well, we don't need any more constant. We don't need an 8, but we need some x's. How many? We're going to need 4, right? Because when you remember when you FOIL out, you're really multiplying, which is adding. And then it's going to be a -2, and that's it. Now do the bottom. Can you do anything on the bottom? Not e, not really. So just bring that down. So clean this up. 8x squared over 2x squared, that is going to be 4, right? 8x squared over 2x squared. The x squared disappears and 8 divided by 2 is 4. And then you have x4 minus 2. Oh, sorry, my tablet kind of freezes. Okay, let's see if this works now. Good. Okay, so we have 4 parentheses, x4 minus 2, right? These cancels, and then 8 divided by 2 is 4. And do you see our answer now? Do you see 4 parentheses x fourth minus 2? No. What I could do is FOIL out this 4, so this is going to be 4x4 minus 8. So that's letter H. Okay, let's move on to question 5. If A equals 4, what is the value of 4A fourth plus 64B over 16? So it looks like you're going to have to FOIL out a 4. So yeah, it's just like the other one. We have to factor out GCF. So let's do the numerator. We have 4. This is one term, and then this is another. So can we take out a letter? No, because they're different letters. This is an A, this is a B. So what about the constant 4 and 64? Maybe you could factor out a 4. Yes, that's it. 4 and 64, right? 4 and 64, the largest thing you can divide by is 4. So it's going to be A4 plus 16B all over 16. And then what can you do next? The 4 and the 16, you can reduce it by 4. So this is 1. And then 16 divided by 4 is 4. So you have A4 plus 16B over 4. And what else can you do? I think what you could do next is, what could we do? Oh, they specifically said replace A with 4. So let's do that. So if A is 4, this is going to be 4 to the fourth plus 16B over 4. So 4 to the fourth is 256 plus 16B all over 4. And then the last thing you can do is divide each term by 4. So that's going to be 256 divided by 4 is 64. 16 over 4 is 4B. Okay, I think that's the last one for this section, so I'm going to stop here.